What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Michigan State versus Ohio State this Saturday night in Spartan Stadium, 7:30 on Peacock. It's Mark D'Antonio night, putting his name in the Ring of Honor. Spartans are going to need some of that D'Antonio magic that he pulled off against Ohio State in his career on Saturday night because the Buckeyes are very good, evident by their number 3 rating in the country. So what can we expect from Ohio State? What do we want to see improved upon from Michigan State so far this season? And of course, our Week 5 college football bets. Before we jump in, if you could though, hit that like and subscribe button down there for more MSU content as we move throughout the season. Now, Ohio State, I'm pretty sure we all know the story of Ohio State this year. Spending $1 zillion in the offseason, bringing in guys from the transfer portal, putting this roster together, bringing in offensive guru Chip Kelly to coordinate this offense. And so far this season, they have faced no test through 3 non-conference games, Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall, which I guess you could say Marshall tested them a little bit, putting up 14 points. Made it interesting for about 20 minutes, but listen, we all knew what the outcome of that game was going to be. Personnel-wise at quarterback, they do look a little different, bringing in Will Howard from Kansas State. Has looked efficient so far, 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Again, not the toughest competition to this point, though. At the running back position, though, they're led by Ole Miss transfer Quinshon Judkins, 9.3 average per carry, 5 touchdowns on the season. Then they also do still have Travion Henderson, who seems like he's been there since about 2018, averaging 8.6 per carry on the ground and 4 touchdowns on the season. Then at wide receiver, even scarier with true freshman Jeremiah Smith leading the way, 14 catches for 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. Then you got Emeka Egbuka, who, same with Henderson, feels like he's been there since about 2018. But he also has 14 receptions, 266 yards, only 1 touchdown for him on the season. Cardell Tate, who's a sophomore, has also had a solid start to the year with 11 receptions and 167 yards and a touchdown. You know this Ohio State offense is explosive. Going through the numbers, but it's the eye test too. When you watch them, their offense really just pops off the screen. Their running backs can pop a big play at any time. Their receivers as well. Whether they catch a 30-yard pass downfield, take it to the house, or they catch all 2 yards behind this line of scrimmage and take it 80 yards downfield for a touchdown. They can really do so many things on the offensive side of the ball that presents a lot of problems for teams. Will Howard can make a lot of plays. Got good zip on his ball, can hold the mesh point from the RPOs really long and put the defense in compromising positions, can pull it from there, run towards the line of scrimmage, pop it out at the last second, make some plays on the run with the throw, and can also hang on to the ball, get to the outside, get to the edge, and make plays with his feet. Now, this is obviously going to be Michigan State's toughest matchup of the season, given how many ways they can hurt you. If you try to stop the run, they'll hurt you with 2 of the best wide receivers in the country. And if you try to stop the pass, then they'll probably hurt you with the best running back duo in the country. So really, I think it comes down to Michigan State. I think you want to try your best to make this a grinded out game where Ohio State has to run the ball a lot, chew up the clock, limit the possessions for both sides. So with that being said, if you can try to limit those stud wide receivers out there, stop the big plays, the explosives, and force Judkins and Henderson to carry this thing like 14 times a piece, then for MSU's offense, as we transition to the Michigan State side of things, we've seen the run game not be super effective this season, but you got to be able to run some, obviously, which they have this season a little bit. And what we wanted to see for a couple weeks now is Aiden Childs. We know he can make these incredible downfield throws, has an incredible arm, can create with his legs, and make these incredible downfield plays. But it's the intermediate throws, the 5-yard post, the 7-yard in routes, the slants, the hitch routes, the screens, all this stuff to get the ball out of his hands quickly for quick completions. Now, the pass protection for Michigan State has been good, but it gets in the rhythm for the offense, and we know the turnovers, the interceptions have been a problem. Not all of them have been on Childs, though. If you get him into a rhythm, set up those timely shots downfield. If you're kind of, dinking and dunking, 5 yards here, 7 yards, screen pass here, run, you're doing a mixed bag of things, then it's like, okay, maybe those safeties are coming up or they go single high safety. Then it's like, all right, we can hopefully Marsh, haven't heard anything, but hopefully Marsh or Glover or Montori Foster or someone. Then it's like, okay, we got a single safety. We might have a matchup. Let's, try to get these quarterbacks in a compromising position, get a one-on-one matchup down the sideline. So for me, it's all about getting in that rhythm to set up those timely shots, as I said, downfield. I think that's the way you have to try and win this game if you're Michigan State. And as we said on the defensive side, forcing Ohio State to use the clock while running the ball. Same thing for the MSU offense. We don't have that dominant run game that we can lean on, at least right now. So the quick completions, as we said, keep that clock moving in rhythm. Then moving to the time in the pocket for Michigan State. Ohio State hasn't actually created a lot of havoc in the backfield so far this season. Only 9 sacks on the season. One less game of sample size for them. They've only played 3. Michigan State's played 4. But MSU has 15 sacks so far this season. Now, we've been very impressed with this Michigan State defense this year. Obviously, this is a different level, completely different test here this Saturday. And I really think any possibility of an upset starts with them. What we talked about them accomplishing on the defensive side of the ball has to start there. Next, talking about the turnovers, as we briefly touched on before, obviously, goes without saying, you can't turn the ball over and stay competitive and try to win this game. You're just not going to do it. They're going to jump all over it, and they're going to take advantage and run the score up. And then lastly, penalties, which plagued MSU for the first 3 games of the season, got cleaned up against Boston College last week. Only 3 penalties after being in double digits the first 3 games of the season. So that was good to see. Would like to keep that up this week and going forward. But listen, overall, for me, I just don't want to see 2021. What happened? What was it? 49-0 or something ridiculous at halftime. And seemingly it's been a blowout every single year, really dating back to, say, 2016 or so. And aside from the 2016 year and the 2018 year, where it was fairly competitive, every other year has been a blowout, and it's been over basically by at most halftime. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to win this game. And I think if some things bounce MSU's way and they execute on a lot of the things that we talked about, there's a possibility there. The defense does what we've seen, limit turnovers, penalties, get some explosives on our end. There's a possibility, but I'm just sick of the blowouts and not even looking like we belong on the same field as Ohio State year in, year out that we've played them over the past 8 or so years. Now, I think we can be competitive in this game for a while at least, and, the spread's 23.5 right now. I think they can cover that. It's actually moved down. I think it started at 24.5, so it has come down, and I think they can cover that 23.5. More on that as we use that perfectly to transition into our Week 5 college football bets. We're 11-9 on the season, so we're above 500. That's good, but we'd like to get some cushion, build that record a little more. So this week, let's start with our game as we always do. Michigan State, alternate spread, plus 20.5 versus Ohio State. Got that at plus 116. Next up, got Maryland, plus 6.5 at Indiana, plus 100. Then got under 48.5, Georgia, Alabama. Got that at minus 110. And then lastly, Penn State alternate spread, minus 19.5 versus Illinois at plus 106. Now listen, as I said, I think MSU can stay competitive for a while in this game. Don't think it's going to be like we've seen in years past on Saturday. Maryland, I think they'll at least keep it close. Versus Indiana, I kind of like them to outright win this game in Bloomington. And then under 48.5, Georgia, Alabama. So it's just going to be a defensive game, high-level, big-time game like this. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. So give me the under in that. Then Penn State, alternate spread, minus 19.5 against Illinois. Listen, I think night game, Penn State, give me them by about 3 touchdowns or so in that game. Put that all together, that is plus $15.98, $5 wins you $79.95. So again, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I'm interested to see what Michigan State looks like this weekend. Want them to look like, as we said, that they haven't really in the last handful of years. Look like you belong on the same field on Saturday. And then obviously honoring the GOAT, Mark D'Antonio, getting his name in the Ring of Honor on Saturday in Spartan Stadium, and they already kind of revealed that on Twitter. I kind of wish they would have done, kind of like an unveiling at halftime. I don't know how they would have kept it, sealed up, but, have like a little cover over it and have it come off when I'm assuming he'll be on the field, hopefully with the microphone talking a little bit, but should be a good time in Spartan Stadium. Beautiful day of tailgating. I think the lot's open at 11, so get to the tailgate lot, set up the TVs, watch the afternoon slate. Good slate of college football, as always, on Saturday. So looking forward to this weekend of college football. We'll be back to recap this game over the weekend as well. So thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.